Hi, I'm traveling, but work does not stop, business does not stop. So I'm going to try and, because this is an extremely important video. While I was traveling, I got to know that the guys behind Al Barari, Al Barari is one of those rare communities that was very different in terms of it did not, it was not your regular investment opportunity, right? If you saw the location on the map or if you drove to the location, you wouldn't be like, oh wow, this is an amazing location. But the way it performed until date, the way it holds value as a product in the Dubai real estate market, and it's compared with, let's say, Jumeirah Golf Estates, Jumeirah Islands, District One, Emirates Living District, with the premium clusters. What really stood apart were its designs, were the quality of construction, the kind of clientele, the absorption, the liquidity. Why I know this so clearly is because when I had some buyers who wanted to buy a villa for 150 million dirhams, after observing the whole market, the place that we actually finalized, now we must understand 50 million dirhams means we have covered all the major community can think we covered. Dubai Hills was one, in Emerald Hills. That was one of the communities that was one of the contenders. We saw some options in Jumeirah Islands, all the communities that I mentioned. But Barari was the one we wanted to finalize, but still we couldn't finalize. We were beat by some competition. So now when these people are building a community, they've been invited by the government because that's the importance of Sheikh Zayed Road. Not everyone can build a community on Sheikh Zayed Road. What are my comparisons? It's um it's very similar to when I'm driving from, let's say, downtown Dubai towards Abu Dhabi. I'll have the Emirates Living District. I have Jumeirah Islands, Jumeirah Park. Then in the next community, an opportunity that I missed for people who made almost 300% return on equity is Tilal Al Furjan. After that, you have Gardens, which is not freehold. And then you have this community. So I'm not there. I've got some of my best consultants who are going to make this video explaining the importance of this particular opportunity. I hope you enjoy it. But this is the job, right? Investment never sleeps. We want to make sure that we make all our investors build wealth. So I hope you enjoy the video. These are two of my best consultants. One's an architect, one is a data analyst. I hope you enjoy it and let me know your feedback. Some additional information I almost missed. So whenever in this channel, whenever I talk about a certain product, you must almost immediately understand either I've myself invested in it or I have a close knit group of investors from across the world. This year, you'll see us having offices in different parts of the globe in very strategic locations for certain reasons. We are in the formation of building like a REIT. So, why we got into it immediately is because it's in pre launch phase. It's officially being launched in the first week of February. So, we already picked up the most expensive plots and the most expensive villas in this community. We've picked it up. The map has not been released, and I'm not officially allowed to release the whole cluster map, but we do have it. So if you want to access the full cluster map, understand, and okay, another extremely important point. So when we understood the map, because this cluster map, and because these are not your regular developers, they're so extremely confident of their product. I saw the actual map of the units that was sold. Okay, basically you're going to see the whole map is red. Now, what's interesting about this is on the same day heights is being allocated. Now, when a product like Emar, Shoba, Tamak, Danube is being launched, you'll see the hype. There's so much hype, even Nakhil for that matter. Nobody knows about this product. The fact it almost sold out, phase one is almost sold out. It's very hard to get a good unit right now. But of course, we need to, that's the advantage. The biggest advantage of having someone with a lot of experience in Dubai is that we know how to tactfully get the right unit. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to access the full cluster map, understand which units are available, which are not, get more details on what is the opportunity, how to maximize your investment, do let us know. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.
The next Al Barari living, right? So this is a very interesting, I think, concept. And I think a few days back, Imtiaz, he stumbled upon a very, very interesting product. And these are by the same people that have designed, developed Al Barari. So we actually went to their office yesterday, and we had the honor of meeting the founder, the co-founder of Al Barari, Miss Nadia Zaal. This project is called as Lunaya, and we have a lot more to talk about: the investment approach, the location, which is very, very key. What has Al Barari itself done? What is their track record? And what is our angle? Who should be investing into this, and what is the investment angle? So I think, Imtiaz, if you want to start with the location.
So coming down to the location is, as of now, we don't have the exact pin of the location, because the way this project got actually announced was really funny, right? So somebody leaked it and people started, lining up on the sales center with checks in hand, and they actually had to open the booking much earlier than what it was really planned. So that way the information is sort of trickling in. So we don't have the exact location, but we do know that it's very close to the Rove hotels near Dubai Parks and Resorts, very close to the Motion Gate. So if you look at it, just to give you context, Dubai Parks and Resorts is sitting right on Sheikh Zayed Road in this whole Jebel Ali belt, and the location is expected to be somewhere here. It's a 5.5 million square feet plot community. In that sense, relatively, it's a smaller boutique community. Just to give you in terms of comparison, it's something similar in terms of size to Muruj Al Furjani, in terms of, because that's also about 5 million. Roughly about expecting about 550 units, lagoon-based, design-led. But yeah, so in terms of location, if you broadly look at the way we were sort of analyzing this location is, if you broadly look at 4 quadrants, if you sort of split it by Palm Jebel Ali side, which is forming the Dubai South, and split by this quadrant, which is closer to Sheikh Zayed Road and then south, right? Out of these 4 quadrants, the top right quadrant is anyways occupied with Palm Jebel Ali, a lot of leasehold, it's already packed. The top bottom one down to Dubai South is where all your mega projects are coming in, filled with Grand Polos, S's, and a lot of other projects coming in. Now, if you come to this side of the airport, the bottom side is when you have the Emaar South. That's the only standalone large community. Not much as action was happening on this side. You see a lot of these empty plots. But what's interesting about this is it's on the left top side of the quadrant, which is right on Sheikh Zayed Road. Now, if you look at some of them, if you've been studying a little bit on the macros that are happening in this location, right? Couple of things. One, the location of the plot is somewhere here. So if you broadly split it in this way, right? This part, right, is very strategic because it's closer to the south, is closer to Sheikh Zayed Road. And if you have looked at over the last 1-2 years, the announcements on the new project launches that are happening here, you will actually see the trend of where this trajectory is going, right? So you have Palm Jebel Ali, which will continue to be hyped for the next 20 years with new launches that are coming in. And every time there's a new cycle of hype, it's going to push the prices here. You have the new marina that's coming up here. You have Juf, Bain by Aura coming on this thing, and you will see a lot of action coming up this side. You have Mira's mega community along with Abu Dhabi government that is coming up. That's almost like a multi-billion-dollar community that's coming up here. And a good indication, a good sample of what the potential of this is, every time there's a Palm Jebel Ali news happening, you see the small plot. These are Jebel Ali Hills. These are stores, were sold as standalone plots. The last 2 to 3 years, the price has not doubled. It's tripled and quadrupled. If you just look at the data, right? That's an indication of what the potential about this area, right? So here is an opportunity to get in, to have an early mover advantage of this quadrant, which is unexplored. And the same developer has already taken up adjacent plots as well. So we know that there's a new additional development that's going to come in, and a lot more developers will start coming in, right? So it's about that early mover advantage.
Oh, perfect. See, the whole reason, guys, why we're making this video and why we felt, that this is something that our viewers should know. is, as he rightly mentioned, see, this is going to be your brand new Palm. You have the airport itself. So one thing which I'd like to also mention, back in 2021, post COVID, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, he came out and he introduced your urban master plan 2040, vision 2040. And in accordance to that, in 2023, he came out and he introduced a 10-decade plan where you have your economic agenda, your social agenda, your real estate strategy agenda, your education agenda. Al Maktoum International Airport itself is expected to handle 260 million passengers annually, by which what the government is saying is by 2031 to 2033, they are expected to start with 150 million passengers. Now, there's a very interesting take to this, right, which we were discussing, that whenever these kind of reforms are happening, almost 1.5 to 2 years before, right, all the kind of migration, all residential or habitual spaces are occupied, a lot of movement is seen. That is very, very key.
Yeah, so it's the case universally, right? Take an example of Win, the Majan Island. Now, if you happen to travel there, if you happen to go to that area, a lot of construction is happening. But next to that, there is this old community called Alhambra Village, established community. Go around there, you will find about 30 to 40,000 people living today, right? Now, and all these are expats. So typically, Win is opening at about 27, but about 2 to 3, 4 years before, you have all the senior management in terms of both constructions, developers, operators, hotel operators, entire management, the employee base starts shifting about 2 years before the formal launch happens. So the world sees on day zero, but the demand for the residential demand for the employees base starts kicking in about 2 years earlier. This holds good for any mega project. Now, if airport is sort of scheduled for 2030, 2032, 23, from 28 onwards, you will start seeing all the top management sort of moving in here. Right? And you're talking about a potential employment base of around 80,000 to about 130,000 direct, indirect contributing from airport in the first 3 to 4 years itself, right? So that impact will start happening. Then you will have around the same time, you have Expo, you have Palm Jebel Ali, right? And when that starts happening, and by the way, Palm Jebel Ali ecosystem, which comprises of the free zone, the port and the industrial area, today it employs about anywhere between 130 to 150,000 people as we speak today, right? Now, of course, that includes a mix of senior, the worker base and everything. But all this employee base today is relying on Fujian, Discovery Gardens, a lot of that to find their employment base, right?
The whole idea is there's also one more very, very important point, right? What has happened in the last, let's say, 6 months? So many developers, right, based out of, let's say, Dubai, what happened in BRAC as well, right? Now this whole merging of Abu Dhabi and Dubai, which a lot of people are still, yet to digest, but it is happening as we speak. And we are looking at the next decade itself having that merge. And so the reason why me and Zuhaib, we made that video, we'll share the link as well, where from the south of Dubai, which is Palm Jebel Ali, right till the south of Abu Dhabi, Khudarat Island. And we identified that diamond, that platinum bear with Al Jurf, with Bain, and now obviously something inland like Lunaya. Because, and just to give you guys an example of a client of mine, Indian guy, he has business in China, he has shops in Abu Dhabi as well, recently purchased in Al Jurf. They had this whole idea. They are living, by the way, in Furjan. They have a lot of business in Abu Dhabi. They wanted something where I can, live towards the south of Dubai, work in Abu Dhabi. They need this migration happening. And this itself, as Imtiaz rightly mentioned, in the next, let's say, 7 to 8 years, this is where the government itself is investing almost 35% of GDP growth is looking towards the Dubai South. We see a huge potential in this location. Now, pros and let's say, or how do you actually look at this investment, right? And now talking about Zaya developments and what's done.
Yeah, just before that, Barari, on the last point on the location is the way we have to really analyze is before we get into per square foot comparison of what's happening in mainland Dubai or not, right? The way to look at this is there's a standard playbook on appreciation in terms of master communities, right? We always say that the playbook is get early in a master community because as the community starts developing, you're basically getting in when there is nothing. As it starts developing, you're riding that wave of appreciation. It's been proven time and again over the last 2 decades. You have to look at this area as one large master community, right? Because all the mega anchors are already proven, already established. You have your airport, you have Palm Jebel Ali, Expo, you have existing Jebel Ali ecosystem, plus all the new developments that are coming up here. Dubai developers launching in Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi developers launching in Dubai. This whole area is sort of merging. And from that standpoint, you have an early sort of entry point here at a very competitive price And payment plan is sort of a kicker on top of it, right?
Well, and so obviously, who's the developer, right? And Zaya, so Miss Nadia Zaal. So interesting thing is she was brought back into Al Barari, 2019, and that time it was at its absolute low. And she was responsible for a lot of these villa developments in the Nest, in Jorizia, in Exoria. And we've actually made a very detailed report, and we'll link it also with this video, where the kind of gains that Al Barari made in the last 2-3 years. Now, obviously, every community in technicality had good appreciations. Al Barari, we've seen average annual growth rates of 30% plus transacted values as well. Now, again, we're not trying to say that it happened over there, it's going to immediately happen in the next 2 to 3 years. Number one thing for all investors is this market will reward long-term investors, long-term investment mindset. You cannot look at an investment as a flipping mindset where in 1 year I'll make 30-40% and I'll exit, because buyers are choosy. Buyers now want to really see how the community shapes up. Why I was talking about Al Barari is because I'm an architect by profession. Something which really Al Barari did a little bit extra, and which, let's say, we can see in Lunaya, is overall design aesthetics of a community. So you must understand, there are big developers, your Damak, or even, let's say, Shobha, Emar, they have their brand name towards it. They are focused on the larger picture as well. And these are certain boutique developers who really, really want the end user experience to be elevated. Even if you look at Lunaya, and we'll, show some renders as well, the overall styling, even I'll give you a very classic example, floor plan to floor plan. So even in a 4-bedroom, or I think it's a 5-bedroom dune layout, what they've done is they've started the staircase on one side, and then they have shifted that up. They have beautified it with a lovely skylight on the top. They have an amazing courtyard. So actually, even if you look at Al Barari, they have referenced a lot of their new projects to Al Barari. You will understand the mindset of a developer. And a lot of times, because I had this feedback from a lot of my European clients, which I shared this brochure to, and they really like the architecture style. See guys, there are certain developers, obviously they will bank on the brand name, they will bank on master community living. There are certain developers that have proven themselves with a track record like Al Barari, with design aesthetics and with architecture value. So this is also a very, very key point, right? We are not just investing into
the So right, the closest in terms of when you're looking at the rendering of everything, right, facades, the closest I could sort of compare to in terms of design language was this Khalid bin Sultan City project in Sharjah, right? Which is, the moment you see, you can know that it has a Zaha Hadid stamp on it in terms of contemporary fluid. It has got a similar design taste to it, right? And that's probably unlike of what we have seen any community in Dubai right now. So the scarcity factor is also about the kind of design language and the kind of design-led community it is, right? And on top of that, you have lagoons and you have sort of that. So it sorts of creates such scarcity value.
Perfect. And now we will come to our investment perspective. First of all, it's a 40-60 payment plan. So I'll just quickly run you through the payment structures. We are deploying 10% now immediately. There's another 15% to be made in April, and then that's it. Then we have another 15% next year in April, which is 12 months from April 2026. The last payment, 60%, has to be done in Q1 2029 on handover. So we're expecting obviously handover with every developer. There's a certain fraction of delays. So we are expecting the first phase of Lunaya to be delivered by Q2 to Q3 2029 year. Right now, how does a payment plan work when you have a very long-term vision? So number one, as I told you, I do not at all see this product as a product where I'm investing 40% and in the next 2 to 2.5 years, it will just jump
so
up.
it is not a short flip. It's not even a 3 to 4 year horizon.
Because as we are talking about all of this, it's a long-term vision. When I mean long-term vision, I definitely mean at least a 5 to 6 year hold from now. We are in 2026 now. Again, as I told you, for His Highness, his vision itself with Al Maktoum International Airport starts after 2031. That's at least a 6-year period from now. So how does 4060 benefit you? The most economical price, let's say, unit over here, it's a 4-bedroom townhouse. You're looking at 4.95 million. From a basic mathematical standpoint, right? 40%, 2 million that you're putting in. Let's consider a very, very conservative appreciation valuation on the property as even 20% in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Which means your property is valuated at 6 million, right? And let's even consider that all of this is developing. We're trying to see a certain, let's say, demand. It will take time. So I will even say on the estimated value, I am considering a 3 to 3.5% net rental gain, which is around 220,000 dirham. Now, how do I look at this investment product? I have 60%, which I can mortgage from a bank. Typically, I think in Imtiaz, we did a calculation. Yeah. It is around 16 to 16,500 that you're paying every month. Yeah.
So 5 million, 2 million is your equity.
Correct.
3 million is your payment at the handover. Let's assume you take a mortgage on this. Roughly, this will come to about 16 to 18,000 per month. Is the mortgage amount, including principal. This is your total outflow, right? This is one. Now, assuming in terms of rental, right? So we're estimating that even if you take in a 25 to 30% sort of increase, we are talking about, it's very conservative, about 6 to 6.5 million. Yep. Right, going in about by 29. So even today for a middle unit, 4-bed, roughly about 250, 270 is comfortably given, in neighboring areas, right? Assuming we even stick to that, say about 250 to 300, right? Say about two.
Even I'll tell you, even like as you rightly mentioned, Muruj Al Furjan, I know that there are certain bigger layouts, they even go up to 300, smaller layouts at 250 to 200, let's say 260K. Even if we consider 220K, very, very conservative, that too still we're targeting around 19,000 dirhams per month on this.
Is your rent, right? And then, so typically what you're really getting at is by actually putting in a 2 million sort of cash flow, you're holding the property and your rent is taking care of your mortgage while you're riding the capital appreciation wave. Now, what this does is it does not put you a pressure to flip at the exit because your rent is taking care of your mortgage, because your appreciation is not going to happen in the next 2 years or 3 years. You have to wait for these mega anchors to kick in, right? 28, 29, that's when it's really taking off. So you hold it 29, 30, 31, and that's when it's sorts of, you can really sort of benefit on the appreciation.
Another point is, so you must understand, when you have a 40-60 or a 50-50 payment plan, the benefit that it gives you is you can hedge risks accordingly. I'll give you a classic example. If you've paid 40%, right, and let's say the market itself is booming, this area itself gains a lot more traction in the next 3 years. Even if the market over there, you can liquidate this product, as you rightly mentioned, for 6.5 million. You've invested 5 million, you can liquidate it at 6.5. Your profit is 1.5 billion. You have only invested 2 million. So your return on equity is 75%. Now, again, this is one case scenario. Why, as consultants, and this is exactly what me and Imtiaz believe, is that this market today, you have to have 2 to 3 strategies, as we rightly mentioned. Yeah. Either are we liquidating before handover to gain return on equity? Are we holding this property, or are we really churning this property for another 5-6 years into rental modules and then we get a sizable cash flow and exit? The beauty with this kind of an investment is definitely we really believe that not now, but in the next 5 to 10 years, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, this whole merging a lot more in Palm Jebel Ali, because guys understand Palm Jebel Ali, if you actually go on Google, the villas are in construction. By 27, 28, the first phase of villas will be handed over. Obviously, Nakheel being a master developer is not just going to sit on this. This whole Dubai Marina 2.0 is a key catalyst to it. Whatever went wrong in Dubai Marina, there are going to be super rectifications into this. You have Jebel Ali Beach over here. This whole area is a gold mine, and that's why he rightly mentioned it's an early mover advantage.
Yeah, like what Yash was saying, the best investment is when you have 2-3 exit strategies and each one is equally good, right? So you're not really under the pressure of getting one. So there are some projects where there is no plan B, you have to exit, otherwise you'll, right? And there are some where you have to load. This is one of those where you have an opportunity to exit at 29 because of all this macro. If you choose to hold, it will still give you good rentals and it will still continue to ride on appreciation. In terms of locations, right? So it's about just 3 to 4 minutes drive to Sheikh Zayed Road. Within 3 to 4 minutes, you're hitting Sheikh Zayed Road. Within about 5 to 7 minutes, you're hitting 311. Right. Current marina will be about 30 minutes. Your new marina, when it comes in, it will probably be about 5-10 minutes sort of drive. Airport will be about 15-20 minutes. So that's the critical. Also, one more very interesting that came out was yesterday, again, one of the very anecdotal things in terms of who are the people who are buying into this, right? So yesterday when we were at the center, when we were speaking to the founder of Zaya, interestingly, 2 very interesting set of people are buying this. Number one is people who have been either living in Al Barari or already invested in Al Barari, because these are the ones who have got this inside information without a formal launch and they have actually come up. That's one. Number two is apparently a lot of people from royal family are picking up units here. right? Now, what this tells you is because it's not going to be a flip community, right? These are the people who are not in a need to flip. That ensures that at the time of exit, in case you are getting in as an investor as well, the community is not a flip community. You're going to have a lot more anchoring in terms of end base, lesser volatility, lower pressure on exit.
Absolutely. Just to sum it up, I think the location is very, very key. Who is behind this, right? Because we always say what you're investing in is a piece of paper. It's the developer's vision that you're investing in, because 3 years, your money is locked on piece of paper. I can beautify the renders like anything. Again, me being an architect, I understand how somebody can beautify a render. So obviously you have 50 developers with amazing renders. We, more than the renders, understood what this developer has done in Al Barari, even with proven transaction records. So we have a very detailed report. Please do get in contact with us. We and our team, we are ready to get deep dive into this. We'll explain you the pros, the cons, the strategy as well, because every investment, as he rightly said, it has to have 2-3 strategies.
Just to add one very important thing, there is lift in every unit, even including the most smallest unit of 4 bed as well. That ensures that your families are taken care of. Price points, 4 beds have 2 variants. One starts at 5 million, one starts at 6.5 million. One is the corner, one is at a park and a lagoon facing, and then you have the semi-detached villa starting at 12 million, and then you have a full independent villas which are about 16 million. The 5 million townhouses are almost sold out. It's almost done unless you're waiting for cancellation. There is an opportunity to get in about 6.5 million townhouse and in the 12 million semi-detached sort of range, right? But it's a very small community. 60-70% is sold out. If there's any interest, we have to move in quickly.
It's a phenomenal opportunity. It is great for leveraging. I think it's a complete package. After a while, we've seen something which really ticks a lot of boxes. So do get in contact with us. Signing off, Yash Mantekar.
Imtiaz here.
Thank you.